Apologize for, wait, we got one more.
Hey, how are you doing?
I was in another court, another chamber.
Oh, got you.
Right
Where
here.
we got you?
Right here.
Right
Grab
here.
that one, Justin.
We're switching
right
you up,
there.
man. Keeping you on your toes.
All right,
That's right. Never a dull moment around here. Okay. Well, Justin, first of all, before we call the meeting to order, I just want to thank you for being the last one here. 'Cause I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Victoria Parks Commission, November 9th, 2020. It appears to me from looking around the table that we've got a quorum present. And I'd like to welcome everybody, including our new members. We're really looking forward to having you, and we've got some things on the agenda that I hope are going to be helpful to all of us this afternoon. Let's start with citizen communication. And we do have a couple of people that would like to speak, I understand. And so I will turn off my phone first. Let me start by asking Gilbert Ramon, if you're here. Gilbert, come on up and you can have an opportunity to talk to the commission.
First of all, thank you so much for allowing us to kind of tag team in this deal. My name is Gil Ramon. I'm from Victoria, Texas. I'm a retired Marine, retired in 2009, did 20 years. And back in 2013, we started a nonprofit organization called Honor 361. And what that was we were trying to build an Iraq-Afghanistan war monument here in Victoria to honor the veterans that served in an Iraq-Afghanistan war and theater, and especially those that within the 361 area code that have lost their lives for our freedom. So it's been a very difficult journey. It's been nonstop, kind of up and down situation. I moved 4 years ago to North Texas, and I am the founder, but I turned over Honor 361 to Pablo Perez, which is now the president-elect of Honor 361. So I just gave you a little background, and I'd like Pablo to take it from here. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much.
All right. My name is Pablo Perez, and as he introduced, I'm a member of Honor 361. We are a nonprofit, and like you said, the road has been with a lot of ups and downs to get there. The good thing about it is we have a lot of support from veterans here, and we have a lot of veterans here in Victoria and in the county. Unfortunately, like Gilbert said, when he started it, I think when he left, we had 9 names on the monument. We do have a rendition of the monument and all that, but since he left, we're up to 27 names now that have given the ultimate sacrifice from our area code in honor to put on the monument. So that's a sad fact that we have to do. One of the things we're asking is to think about a location for the monument. There's a couple places in the park that have so much traffic that goes by, but the monument is more than just for the veterans. It's for all veterans in the community, because it could help the children learn more about patriotism, which is something that we need in our country. We could have what we want to do is do it in phases. So we could have the Iraq and Afghanistan War Monument, maybe the second phase honoring all branches, and then increase that to Vietnam, Korea, all the wars, to honor all those gentlemen and provide history, healing, and education and patriotism to the community. Kids could go out there for field trips, but there's a couple of spaces in the park that could provide great access for this. And any questions?
Anybody on the commission have questions for either Mr. Ramon or Mr. Perez?
Are you referring to Riverside Park?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We've also, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've also had secondary spots like the bike trail over, I forgot the location, but
Yeah.
the new bike trail that we have, that'd be a wonderful, right next to the old stadium or the Victoria Memorial Stadium. That would be an awesome location also. I mean, we're open to several, but that's that's one of the other places we're thinking about.
Mr. Alfaro has been gracious enough to start the conversation with myself and Commissioner Olivares, and who took a big interest, and so he's willing to help us out and get on board and hopefully be on the agenda in the future and see how we can work together to help this with the community and honor all the veterans.
Barry, did you?
Yes, I got several questions. Number one, you said a monument. Is it gonna be a statue or just a?
Yeah,
regular-
right now, it's a granite rendition of one of the gentlemen, I believe he served with. He has a history of that, of Colton Rusk and his service dog.
So the main idea when we started this was, of course, having a statue with a bronze statue to include mounted up. And it also, it has Colton Rusk, Lance Corporal Colton Rusk from Orange Grove, Texas, which is just south of here. He lost his life in 2010. And he was also a canine handler, a bomb dog handler. And next to him is Eli, which is his service animal that worked with him, which was him in 2010 when he was killed in action. So it would also have a canine since they serve also. And I know we have a lot of people in our community that love our animals. So
You said the monument, you're gonna include all branches or just one particular branch?
The first part, it does, like all the veterans listed on the monument are from all services. They're not just from one branch. They're from all services, even the reserve units that they have. Like I said, unfortunately, the number rose from when Gilbert was part of it, when he founded it, from 9 up to 27. But they are Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, anybody who has given the ultimate sacrifice from the 361 area code. One of the things that benefits Victoria is that we're centralized, and that would, we're right in the middle of the area code.
See, veterans, you talk about veterans that are alive or veterans that lost their lives in Afghanistan and Iraq?
Are you speaking about specifically on the monument?
Yes,
Specifically on that monument, it's the names of those who've given the ultimate sacrifice.
give up their lives?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I know you have someone keeping track as, how many?
Yes, sir. We have a couple from, I believe it's one, Gary Walters from here in Victoria. We have a couple from Edna and Ganado. I mean, it spreads through all these little towns and unfortunately, in the 361 area code and all the way to Orange.
Keeping a track of people that have passed away is hard because I started with 10 names.
Yes, sir. I understand. Yes,
I
sir.
ended up with-
So it's communicating with different organizations, the Gold Star
Organizations, yes.
families and, VFWs and all those organizations to get those names.
And how do you plan to raise the funds? Do you have a particular idea you want to?
We've already started raising funds, and we're working with Jones Monument here in town, working locally with them. We have a rendition, and we have already put down a down payment. That we are a little bit of ways. We're a little less than 50% there. So we are established nonprofit. So
What you're asking the commission is to give you a location?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm hearing, right?
yes, sir.
Because we already assigned one
This is
location down
Commissioner Rafford.
Plaza, remember, for the De Leon statue for the Martin De Leon?
Where's that?
That was about 3 years ago. Remember Miss De Leon came by and made a presentation to
Yeah.
have a location for a statue of Martin De Leon, and the commission agreed to allow her to have it there at the De Leon Plaza.
De Leon Plaza.
Right.
Yeah, I remember talking about that. Y'all are talking, you've got some ideas and thoughts, though, about particular places in Riverside and possibly on the walking trail, too, is that right?
Yes, sir. So in Riverside Park, right there, that big area by there's the kids' playground and the Rose Garden. There's that big field right there. I believe that's the prime location. Also, right down the road from that is right next to the baseball field. There's a lot of traffic, entering and exiting right there, but also traffic going into and out from the park on that first location I said. And then Gilbert, another prime location is that one by Memorial Stadium on the walk run trail.
The approximate footprint, do you think, of the monument and what you envision to be the area surrounding it?
Yeah, I'm not understanding your question.
Well, the monument, I'm assuming, is a, you said it's a stone
Yes.
structure. Do you sort of have a plan for the area immediately surrounding it for, like, I don't know, benches or pathways?
Yes,
or
sir.
something
Yes,
like
sir. All that would be part of it.
What would the approximate footprint of that be in terms of?
That would depend on the location.
If you don't mind, I'm sorry, we're kind of getting into some of the dirty details, into the weeds of this. So if the commission would like to speak about this in greater depth, we can put this on an upcoming agenda, if you'd like.
I think initially that was just for us to introduce ourselves. If you would like a presentation in the future and an agenda, we would love to do so.
Somebody like to make a motion? Well, I'll tell you what, we have agenda items at the end of the
Repka?
meeting. We can take it up at that point.
Could I add 2 cents?
Yes.
This is
I'll
Commissioner Repka. I was wondering if this group has considered Patriot Park out in the county for these types of monuments?
We have, but that is not there's not a lot of traffic. It's not really, there's not a lot of traffic that goes through there. They already have a couple of things up for veterans. They have the memorial wall. I believe both our names are on that wall, but we want to do this so it's a good location with a lot of traffic for the community. That way, if I want to take my kids or anybody wants to take a field trip, and they can sit there and learn about, what it costs of freedom and patriotism and everything that people who have given up for our freedoms.
I'll just say something real quick.
Yes,
Just because it pops in my head, I like to say these ideas. I can just imagine like on a hike or bike trail, being able to appreciate it more because you're able to stop and possibly even fitting fitness in some way. So having a pull-up bar, say do a pull-up for a veteran and
For sure.
appreciate this, something like that. So I wanted to say while I had it in my head.
Okay, in regards to fitness, we do have, our biggest fundraiser is Battle for the Monument. Of course, this year's got canceled because of COVID. It's a CrossFit fitness competition. We started out, I believe the first one was 20 teams. And last year we had the last time we had it was over 100 teams from all over the state of Texas.
Commissioner, I know I guess you're calling in. We understand that there's several different spots through town, the Korean Monument, the one downtown for World War I, World War II. The neat thing that I saw a few years ago, I went to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I saw their park. It had the Vietnam Monument. We had a Huey helicopter out there. They had the different wars, Desert Storm. They had monuments for women. They also had monuments for law enforcement, first responders, special forces. The vision, ideally, the big long-term vision would be if we could have all the different, associations there. I think that'd be really neat to have that, and it would be something that would help Victoria as far as tourists go, and they can do something. Go look at this trail that had the different monuments. Not just, right now we're just asking for the Iraq-Afghanistan monument, but in the future that we can do different things for that.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
All right, in your meeting packets are the minutes from the October 12th, 2020 Parks Commission meeting. I'll entertain a motion to,
I have a correction to make.
yes, some corrections.
On B, citizen communication, it says no on wish to address, but it should be no one.
Gloria, tell me again where you are.
B, under citizens
Oh, okay.
communication.
Oh. Okay.
And that's all that I found.
Any other additions or corrections to the minutes? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
Make a motion.
A second?
Approve.
The motion and the second to approve the minutes of the meeting with the correction that Ms. Rodriguez pointed out. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good. We'll approve those. Thank you, Gloria. Okay, we'll move on into other business, and we're going to begin with a little bit of an orientation program. Jason, are you going to Leave that off.
Yes, sir, I sure will. Thank y'all. So I think we're going to do this a little bit different than what we had historically done orientations, or if we've had orientations before. So one of the things that I did want to mention to you is that we did talk about moving to check out different parks and having a parks tour this time, but that's going to be touched on a little bit here within the presentation itself. So with that, I'll just continue to move forward. So Parks and Recreation Commission, the commission, what's the history of it? Well, the commission was first established by City Council back in 1962. Really, the entire purpose of the commission was to advise City Council on the matters that are pertaining to acquisition, development, management, the use of the areas and the facilities. Really, what they were doing is just focusing on the day-to-day activities of the department. So, that purpose hadn't really been changed in a very long time. And so when I got here, and as some of y'all are aware, we had some terms that were vacant. And there was a little issues with those, if you will, right? Some of them weren't, it just wasn't as clean as it should have been. So kind of the history behind that is, from my understanding, over the last year and a half or so, the commission didn't really meet as often as what we do today. There wasn't a regular scheduled meeting. And so what we did was, one of the first commission meetings that we had in 2020, we really took a look at their purpose. We discussed it with the commission, and then also reviewed the bylaws. So the bylaws and the code is what we really took a look at, in addition to some regular meeting times. So during the commission meeting in June, we established the second Monday to be our regular day and time to meet with the commission. So 5 p.m., second Monday, this is where we're at today. So with that being said, June, July, August, we continued to have conversations with the commission about changing the code, changing the purpose. And so the commission really supported those changes. They understood where we were coming from, thought basically the commission needed to be looking at more of an advisory role versus a day-to-day operations role. And so on August 4th, we updated the code and presented that to council. On August the 10th, a resolution was adopted by the Parks and Rec Commission. So this commission here, August 10th, supporting those bylaw changes. And then on August 18th, we took all that information to City Council, and basically those were adopted through second and third readings, et cetera. So on August 18th, the commission at that point basically changed. It changed from, again, day-to-day management, operations, to more of a 1,000-foot view, looking at the department as an advisory role, or for the department as an advisory role. So that brings us to today, right? What does the Parks and Recreation Commission of today look like? Well, it's a little different. It's to advise the department on matters pertaining to planning the acquisition and development of parks and rec facilities. I should say parks and rec facilities, not parks and parks facilities, but and other items determined by the director. So the commission is still the same. It's made up of the 9 commissioners. Terms are still the same. It's 3 years with 2 term limits. Some of you, Ashley, I think you're the one that's sitting in that seat that's a little off from that. So you have the ability to go for 2 more terms after this 1 year. So you get your 7 years if you were to desire to do so. And then, of course, the election of the officers, that gets held every October. So we'll do that every October, which we did this last month. And then again, the meetings are held on the second Monday at 5. Some of the things that are new to some of the older commissioners, if you will, is we wanted to figure out a way, and in talking with Chairman Keeling about this, we wanted to find a way for you as a commissioner to place items on the agenda. Right, you always have the opportunity to place an item on the agenda here. Anytime that we have a meeting, we actually have an item on the agenda that says that. Any future meetings for commission, to discuss. But in addition to that, how else can you get something on the agenda? Well, you can do so by contacting sorry, by contacting Lee and then emailing me as well, or copying me on that email. So there's a few things that we'll ask of you. The next slide actually kind of spells it out a little bit more, and you also have a page or a document within that handout that spells out exactly what I'm going to be going through. But the way that everything is set up, so Lee and I like to have a meeting a week before. So last Monday, Lee and I met to talk about things that are going to be on this agenda. So what we're asking is that all requested items submitted by you is given to Lee and I by the last day of each month. That just gives us the ability to discuss it come that Monday whenever we have our meeting. And then just be prepared to possibly discuss it with Lee and I. It's not going to be anything crazy, right? We're not asking you for documents and supporting docs and all that, but we're just asking you to potentially discuss it with us, with the item with us, so that way we have a better understanding of what we're going to be talking about. And then if you have any kind of issues, items, concerns, anything you hear out in the field and you go, you know what, I need to let Jason know about that. I need to let the Parks Department know about that. Just pick up the phone and call. It's as simple as that. I mean, feel free to reach out to me directly. You can reach out to anybody here in the Parks and Rec Department, or if you'd like to email me, that's fine. You know, I'm available for you pretty much anytime. My schedule is fairly flexible, so I'll try to meet with you as your time allows. But just to go over the day-to-day type things, some items that you're concerned about, projects that you may want to see added to the park system, just let me know. What we're doing internally is creating an Excel spreadsheet that has all the information that are requests, if you will, that are coming down from commissioners. So what we're doing is we're trying to keep tabs of that, trying to make sure that we have everything in there, you know, completed, have comments in there, and then that way we'll be able to update you all as commissioners too. Lee and I haven't talked about that in depth, but I'm thinking maybe once a quarter we can present those to you just as a quick update to show you some of the other items and where we stand with those. Any questions up to this point? Because y'all are super quiet. Okay. All right. We'll keep rolling. So all this is just a picture of the agenda request procedures. This was the item I was mentioning to you earlier that is included within that packet. So you have this information. I just wanted to show you that this was pretty much what we were talking about on that previous slide, as well as the Parks and Recreation Commission items and concerns. So if you didn't catch that, PARC is Parks and Recreation Commission, just spells park a little different. So, but nonetheless, so here's just a quick snapshot of the spreadsheet that we've been keeping internally, and again, we'll just update that accordingly as time allows.
It'd be a great idea to update the commission, you know, 4 times a year on those kind of items, because I think it's important to commissioners to know that, you know, that the day-to-day items are being addressed and taken care of, but
Sure.
it's still important for us to spend our time, I think, working on policy level type things when we meet in the short time that we have to do this work. And I think that's a good way to handle that, Jason. I appreciate your help with that.
Yes, sir, absolutely, and I appreciate that information. We'll go ahead and anticipate us putting it on every quarter, just at least updating you on the spreadsheet. But as you can see, some of them, they're going to take us quite a bit of time. I mean, some of them we're looking at probably a year or two before we actually get around to getting it completed. Okay, so with that being said, right, what are you advising? Right, it's the Parks and Rec Department, but like, what are we? So I just wanted to give you a quick little snapshot. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we maintain. We're a department of 47 full-time employees with 24 part-time positions available. We have a combined budget of $4.8 million. And we have 4 divisions that are within the department itself. So we have Parks and Recreation. You might ask yourself, why are those divisions? Well, those two, although they are married, they do two totally different things. So we're talking about parks maintenance and, of course, recreation programs and events. So within those 2 divisions, they also oversee the cemetery and the RV park. So you move past that, well, of course, we have the golf course. That's a division within itself. That's actually broken down into two other divisions. That's the clubhouse and the maintenance. So we have a golf course superintendent and we have a golf course manager or clubhouse pro, if you will. So those two individuals take care of their responsibilities, as they're out there. Then, of course, the community center. So parks, recreation, golf course, clubhouse, maintenance, and community center are our four divisions that we have within the department. So what do we do? That is the question. I can show you, I don't want to jump to the last slide, but I can tell you, that's what most people think we do, right? But really what we do is just, we maintain parks, right? Green space, facility grounds, try to make them as safe and as clean and aesthetically appealing as we can. Being efficient with, obviously the funds and the personnel that we have is always a priority. But we also create recreational programs and events for the community. We also handle all the event applications as it pertains to, the parks. One of our recreation coordinators, actually, that's part of her job description is event coordinator, if you will, kind of overseeing and talking with the event applicants and those individuals to make sure their event runs smoothly. Well, we also have a beautiful 18-hole golf course. We converted 9 holes, or not the entire 9 holes, but a portion of the 9 holes to a practice area and a driving range. So we're just, trying to, again, quality of life, right? And so that's a part of it. And just trying to give the community something that they're proud of and that is affordable for them. And so that's the golf course. And then the community center, obviously we facilitate rentals for that. One of the things that we're going to be working on is working with CVB in the future and kind of seeing how we continue to gain more events and outside events. So, and then in addition, all of us, whether it's parks, golf course, community center, et cetera, we create partnerships for our programs, our events. We oversee contracts and various permits. And of course, we also work with outside organizations just to continue enhancing the livability within the community. So, our park system. I was telling you. I know. Last time that we talked or we had this meeting that we were going to potentially do a parks tour. But what we're going to do is just do a nice overview of the park system. So I'll show you this picture. As well as another picture here in a minute. But Lee and I hopefully will be able to have that conversation and how we're going to actually do site visits to all the parks. We have 16 different parks, and so it's a lot of acreage and a lot of property to cover within a short amount of time. And so Chairman Lee and I didn't think that we could get to all the parks within a decent amount of time, and from 5 to 5:45 when it starts to get dark now. So we'll definitely have to have that conversation and how we want to move forward with it, whether it's phases, whether we just want to, go for a Saturday and get tacos and just check out the entire park system. I don't know, but that's something that we felt that needed to be kind of hashed out a little bit more before we move forward with it. But nonetheless, I wanted to give you an overview. So we have 593.42 acres of parkland that does not include the golf course. City of Victoria property is 90.94 acres and other non-parkland property is 7.6 to a total of 692 roughly acres. So with that, we also maintain 7.53 miles of trail systems. We have 8 city-owned properties. And you don't see it on the spreadsheet, but we also have over 112,000 square feet of facility space. And that's going to be anywhere from the community center to the sports complex to our Parks and Rec facility. So again, that parkland acreage in the chart does not include the golf course. So you can add a couple hundred acres to the golf course right there. It's quite a bit of parkland. It's a lot of stuff that these guys and gals are doing out there. And this may not be the best picture for you, but definitely tried to at least give you a snapshot of what the park system looks like. So obviously that big yellow dot on the left is Riverside. Everything to the north, number 5 is going to be Ethel Lee. And so that just kind of gives you a quick idea of what our park system is made up of. if you just do just a quick look at this map, one of the things that I think our Parks Master Plan is going to identify is some needs and some of those gaps. So specifically between 6 and 16, maybe even everything to the west of 5, 14, and 6. So you can see there's areas that are not being serviced within let's just say a 10-minute walk, if you will. So definitely room for opportunity, definitely room for growth, and that's your park system. So now that we've got everything about Parks and Rec, let's find a tree, let's park and recreate. Well, that's all I have, and yeah, be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Jason. I sure appreciate that.
Absolutely.
One thing I thought we might mention just briefly about the tour, and I am sorry, we were messed up by the time change. I think we were talking about trying to do it this week, tonight, but we realized we were out of time on such short notice anyway. We kind of talked about the idea, though, of we're going to get into this in a little bit more detail in a little bit, but we're going to talk more about our planning function and what we have coming up. Our new consultants have been hired, and we're going to get busy on that. One of the things that we talked about was making this tour aid us as a commission in giving good feedback with respect to that planning process. And I think, it certainly would be for me and perhaps for you all. I know a lot of the parks. We all know Riverside Park. Some parks we all know about, but some parks we don't really know much about at all. And it's important to make sure that we've got a good idea about the uses and what we have in terms of assets and resources available now. I think that'll help us as we give input to this planning consultant on this master plan, which is, again, it's an important area for us. So we will work on that and try to do it in such a way that we have plenty of notice ahead of time, so that if we do decide, for example, maybe to knock off at 3:00 some afternoon and go do something, we can at least do that with notice and an opportunity to try to schedule it with commissioners so that we get as many people are able to go as possible. And if we maybe try to do something on the weekend, same kind of thing. We want to do it with everybody's permission and hopefully to fit everybody's schedule.
Well, I really like Jason's Saturday taco idea.
Just let me know, we'll get them.
Any other questions or comments, particularly from any new members with respect to
I have a
Jason's
question.
presentation?
This is Gail.
Go
I
ahead,
have a
Gail.
question for the last slide, highlighting all the parks. I was wondering, is there still room for development in existing parks, like this Lone Tree Park on Airline? I've noticed there's lots of space behind what's being used already. Does that city land go all the way back to, I don't know, the next road over? If we're looking at number 8 on here, does that city land go all the way back? There's a whole line of trees way far back. I know some folks go walking back there, and I was being asked, is there room to develop anything else back there?
I'm not sure of
And is there-
the property line scale. That's something that in part of our research and information gathering that we're getting ready for half. That's part of it. But yeah, there's room for development as long as the property lines are far enough back and allow us to be able to develop. And of course, the funding, right?
Yes,
Also
funding.
flood
Love that word.
That's floodway.
A lot of that area is flood retention ponds.
Okay, Gail, if you're still there too, I just heard that a lot of that area is like retention ponds, so potential floodway issues as well. So that's something though that we'll be
Yeah,
looking
not-
at the entire park system with half.
And not in the pond, but there's a whole line of trees back there. It looks like a little forest that could be maybe something to have fun in.
Okay, we'll take a look.
That's okay.
Other questions or comments for Jason?
Yeah, I was just wanted to make a comment of how often do they look at drainage issues when they're thinking about doing these master plans? Because I was block walking this the other day, and this lady says from Hopkins Park, she lives in one of the corner houses. She says that when it floods or just rains a lot, all the water kind of just collects and runs right into her house. So I just told her I'd mention it, but she says because there's not like there's not no drainage system, there's nowhere for the water to go except into the street down backwards.
Gotcha.
So I made sure I mentioned it.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I know the city is currently undertaking a drainage master plan, and so I'm sure that'll touch on that part of it. One of the things I can tell you with the Parks and Rec master plan is that Half Associates, who is our consulting firm, they're really big on connectivity and trail systems, and so we can definitely bring that up to them and make sure that they incorporate, maybe some of those findings too that they find on the drainage plan with this.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Good point.
Oh, and also, double rims, those are just the worst. Like, it's, as far as playing basketball,
Yeah.
it just bounces right off. You can't ever get a good game in.
Okay.
So that, somebody said, can you mention that too? Yeah, do you know what double rims are?
No, but I will definitely find out.
Okay, that, opposed to a regular rim, it makes the ball bounce real far away. So
Gotcha.
it can't like bounce in or anything.
Gotcha.
All right. Let's move on to item E2 on the agenda, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Rivera to bring this up. And we've deferred taking action last week since you were unavailable, but we wanted to give you the opportunity to present this to the commission.
Okay, thank you. As you notice, I was requested to do a recommendation for the naming of the splash pad that is located on Ben Wilson. As you know, previously, there used to be the Gary T. Moses swimming pool. But since then, that swimming pool has been demolished and removed and replaced with splash pad. Well, I felt that the property has already been named Gary T. Moses with the no longer swimming pool. So I felt that because the property or the land has already been dedicated to naming Gary T. Moses, I felt that the splash pad would be a good gesture to do in replace of the swimming pool that was once there. The recommendation is, I'm sure you know, all his accomplishments and everything that Gary has done for the city. As a matter of fact, back in the 1970s to the 80s, late 80s, Gary was the director of the Parks and Recreation activities. He managed all the activities, the swimming pool, the recreation during the summer, throughout the year. So he has been part of the Parks and Recreation as far as an employee, as far as, participating in the parks. And so my recommendation is to go ahead and rename the splash pad, the Gary T. Moses Splash Pad Park. In essence, when the splash pad was supposed to had a grand opening, we didn't have it because of the fact that it was inclement weather, so they postponed it. So theoretically, that splash pad has never been dedicated yet or has had a grand opening. So it would be nice if we have a grand opening and name the splash pad at the Gary T. Moses swimming pool. So that's my recommendation, that I feel that, the man has done a lot for Victoria, and he's still doing. I mean, everywhere you see, he's there, and he's provided a lot of services. I do hospital ministry, and I see him there on Sundays up until the point that we no longer can go to the hospital. But he was there visiting people that, he don't even know. He just goes and, welcomes people and make them feel better. So, his accomplishments are beyond, we can be here all day, but I really wanted to rename the splash pad as the Gary T. Moses, and that's my recommendation.
All right.
Any questions? Some of you guys that hadn't been, you're local, you know Gary Moses.
So does the park itself have a name?
No, the swimming pool was the name, Gary T. Moses Swimming Pool, not the whole park, just the swimming pool itself. But as you know, Jason, the swimming pool is no longer there, it was moved to the YMCA. So that property where the swimming pool was actually on is now the splash pad.
So, but I'm saying, so if I'm coming from out of town for a softball tournament, I'm going to what stadium? Like,
It's still the youth sports complex. It's just, what he's saying is that the splash pad itself would just be named Gary T. Moses or Gary Moses Splash Pad.
Not the whole
And not
complex,
the
not the whole
park itself.
complex, just
Yeah.
just the splash pad.
Okay, right.
You
No,
know,
I was just
area-
wondering if the whole complex itself
No.
had a name.
Right.
No.
Because I mean, the man's deserving of
Yeah.
all of
And,
that.
no, we got the Riverside, we have the community center, we have the, like you said, the youth complex, and we have the skateboarding area, but this had, the splash pad has a splash pad plus a little, play area. So that's be part of it, just that area, the concentrated area, the splash pad. So
Oh,
instead of
yeah.
saying, I'm going to the splash pad, I say, I'm going to the Gary T. Moses splash pad.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that's what I was getting at.
Yes.
It's like, because you go to,
Yes.
I'm going to
I
Ethel Lee
understand,
Tracy
I understand
Park,
what
I'm
you're saying,
going to-
Jason, yeah.
and
But
I
thank you
was
for the
saying,
thought,
hey,
though.
we could be going to Gary Moses Park. It has
Yeah.
a little park, it has a stadium, it has a splash pad.
Yeah.
So that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
putting the whole thing
Yeah,
Gary Moses.
you're thinking big, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't be here without the man, for sure.
I know.
So,
Well, so Commissioner Rivera's motion, I guess, is in the form of a recommendation, I guess, and it's a recommendation to, or a suggestion that we recommend to council to change, since we don't actually have the authority to do that ourselves. But is there a motion to that effect? Does someone on the commission
Well,
wish to make a
Well, I'd
motion?
like to make the motion that we make the presentation to the city council in lieu of naming the splash pad the Gary T. Moses swimming pool. I'm sorry, splash pad.
In lieu of the swimming pool, correct?
Yeah, in lieu of the
Okay.
swimming pool, yes.
All right.
A second.
And there's a second. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Okay.
My next-
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, my next question is, you make the presentation or does one of us have to make the presentation?
Gary Moses make the presentation.
I know that he recently, someone did the pins for him. They ordered 500 and then they sold another 500. We might want to see about getting with them and selling some more of those if they can go to some sort of organization as well. When they do that, ribbon cutting, or I assume that there will be a grand opening officially, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, we never did have a grand opening for the splash pad because of the inclement weather. I was there, nobody was there, and then I called, what happened? Oh, we postponed it. We're gonna have popcorn, we're gonna have snow cones and the whole works. And the weather was bad. I mean, it was fixing to rain, thunder and everything, lightning, so they postponed it, so they canceled it, let's put it this way.
So we need a naming
Right.
ceremony.
But I did go to
Right.
the grand opening of the one on the other one, what you call it?
Ethel?
Ethel Park.
Ethel
whatever.
Lee?
Yeah, I went to that one. That was nice.
But I do want to note, if they ever think of expanding the whole name, I would definitely be in favor of it, the whole thing being Gary Moses. I know there's been a few events over the past few months, and I mean, there's nobody from the community as far as leaders except for him at each one, at that particular park, whether it's the basketball, whether it's the, anywhere around there, whether they're having a little run or a march. He's at every single one at that park by himself, so.
Well, and that's something that, we have a recommendation coming from this commission to city council. So if that's something that you would want to discuss at a later time, or even here, I mean, now's the platform to be able to do that.
I like his idea now, but I'm saying if the discussion comes up in the future, like, hey, should we name
Okay,
this whole part? I want it to be noted that,
okay.
so perhaps I forget this idea. So I like to always say my things out loud, so somebody else might remember if I don't.
Sure, no, I understand.
But I love the idea. I like that, so let's go with
Okay.
that.
Well, and to answer your question, Commissioner Rivera, it's, what I would say is that I don't mind doing a presentation to council with it, but I would hope that we would have some commissioners there from Parks and Rec Commission, and just so they could see the support as well. Maybe even have one of y'all come up and say a few words, or even, help with the PowerPoint. I think that would be beneficial. That way, it's not just coming from me as the director, but it's also coming from, the advisory body.
But I'll be glad to be there with you.
Okay.
If I have to hold your hand, I'll be there.
And why don't you, if you'll just let us all know.
Yes.
When that's going to be, whenever it gets set up and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Then.
I'd like to have Jason there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if it's something that we're asking, I think it's important for us to be there. It shows that, it really means something to us, instead of saying, hey, we got an idea, you handle it for us, Jason. I think it's our responsibility to let them know, hey, this was what we thought about, and this is why. And we have his support, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, I'll let everybody know once we
Let me
get that
know,
onto an
send me an
agenda.
email and when is the meetings on council, on Tuesdays or Mondays?
On Tuesdays, opposite of this, so it'd be the first and third.
Yeah, give me a heads up, because I do work on Tuesdays, so I can cancel it.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Item E3, discuss the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Jason?
Oh, yeah, okay. So Parks Master Plan. It's a really short presentation, so y'all, I should have told you I was a really long presentation, so y'all get ready, but it really is short. So a space for all of us, you might see that down on the very bottom. That was a catchphrase, if you will, that HAF Associates came up with. I'll speak more about HAF here in just a second, but it's something that they like to do. They like to have some kind of a catchphrase with every project that they have. It doesn't mean that that's ours specifically, but it was just something that they thought was a good catchphrase for us. So, what is a Parks Master Plan? Well, it's a comprehensive plan that identifies the park system, reviews its against standards with NRPA, which is National Recreation and Parks Association, and then they give us some recommendations based off of that. So, do we have enough parks? Do we have too many parks? Do we need more recreation facilities, programs, et cetera? So it's really an 8 to 10 year plan to show us what our Parks and Recreation Department looks like compared to those on a national standard. So how did we get to this process? How did we get to this point? Well, June 15th, about 2 weeks after I started, we published an RFP for a Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We left that open for about a month, so on July 15th, we actually had a deadline for submittals. RFP is a request for proposals. We received 9 proposals from various firms. Majority of them were here throughout the state of Texas. Commissioner Keeling was actually on the committee reviewing those proposals as well. So you did have, the commission was, a part of that entire process. And then on August 3rd, the committee reviewed and selected our top 3 firms. Again, so we went from 9 down to 3. And then on the 20th and 21st of August, we interviewed the 3 firms and we selected a firm. It was HAF Associates who we selected. It might seem like a long time, but since August 21st, roughly, to October, we were working with them on price negotiations, scope of work, et cetera. So eventually, we took it to council on the 20th of October and got an approval for a professional services agreement with HAF. HAF Associates is out of the Austin area. Or who we're working with is out of the Austin area. HAF has been around for quite some time, I believe since the 50s. We have 4 main points of contact for HAF. Christian Lentz is our project manager. He's the main point of contact for us as city staff, as a department. He's basically the project coordinator. Aaron Cooper is the deputy project manager. He's Christian's right hand. And then Jill and Julian help with supporting documentation, et cetera. So those are the 4 individuals that we'll be working with with HAF. So what does HAF have to do with the Parks and Recreation Commission, right? So we were talking earlier in the first presentation about how the advisory or how the commission moved from operational role to an advisory role. Well, that's the idea behind the Parks Master Plan and the commission is to have the Parks Commission be the spearheading group, if you will, for the Parks Master Plan. So you're going to help us with, spreading the word. You're going to help us with, answering questions that the community may have, et cetera. One of the things that Christian, sorry, let me back up a little bit. So here's the tentative schedule that HAF Associates sent to us. So in November, which is now obviously, we're going to be pre-planning and gathering a bunch of background information. You don't even want to know what that spreadsheet looks like. It's ridiculous. So those 2 could tell you over there for sure. It is crazy. So the amount of information that they want, obviously, is to make sure that our plan is thorough and is correct. So we're going to be gathering that information and getting it to them for quite some time. It'll probably take us until the end of the year, for, if not maybe a little longer. So that's what we're doing currently. And then actually next Tuesday, we're going to be meeting with HAF Associates, city staff internally, just the department, if you will, city management as well, with HAF to do a kickoff meeting. So they're basically just going to come down, talk to us as a department about, where we're going, what we're doing, making sure we're all on the same page and touring the parks. Where y'all come into play is in December. So HAF wants to come in and basically meet with you guys. They're going to talk with you, and not in detail about, oh, this is what we need to do, but just give you more of an overall, this is what we're looking for out of the commission. They didn't give me any specifics, otherwise I would give you a heads up. But he just told me, just to let y'all know that it's not going to be anything too crazy, but just that he's going to come in, they're going to do a presentation, talk to y'all, and basically to get everybody up to speed and on the same page with the project. So that's what's happening in December with the Parks and Recreation Commission and HAF. So in addition to that, we're going to be, or they're going to be preparing public engagement activities and online surveys. And again, just trying to get an inventory of the Parks and Recreation system as a whole. So our goal is for January to really be where we push out the public surveys and the public outreach and really, really kind of hit that hard at that time. So that's the tentative schedule or the timeline for the next couple of months. I don't obviously want to lay out a whole slew of things for you because those can change. This thing is, the schedule is very fluid, depending on how meetings go, depending on how surveys go, depending on how quick we get the information to them, et cetera. So anyway, anybody have any questions?
I have a question. This is Gail.
Hey, Gail.
In regard to the inventory, like on your one slide back where it talked about inventories for the park.
Yes, ma'am.
Does your office have like a spreadsheet of an inventory of parks to say like what's in each park? That could be helpful for the commissions, maybe helpful to see it on paper when we go for a live in-person visit to the parks, is to have a list of what all the facilities are at each park.
I believe we do. I believe that's in the 2012 master plan, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there's parks and amenities that are included on that. But yes, Gail, I agree with you. That would be beneficial and helpful. So once we have that meeting, we'll make sure that we print it out. And then in addition to that, if we find it, I'll go ahead and send that over to y'all.
Thank you for bringing us up to speed on that. What I guess in the big terms is the timeline? Like, when do you think the actual master plan would be developed? Is it a 12-month, 18-month, 9-month process? What's the bigger picture?
Yeah, good question. So we're hoping that it's council approves it come October of next year, roughly. So we're looking at about a 12-month process. Absolutely. Any other questions? No?
I think that you all will enjoy working with the HAF people. We met them, kind of online anyway. We didn't meet them face to face, but they're a very they're extremely impressive group of people that certainly seem to know what they're doing. And I think going through the exercise with these guys about what we can do with what we have. It's just really exciting. It was exciting interviewing with them and getting their ideas and input for, what they saw as outsiders, just looking at what we had. And so I think you're really going to enjoy this exercise that we go through. I'm looking forward to it myself. So, Jason, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that meeting will take the place of our normal meeting in December? Just not know at this point.
I'm not too sure on the date. I think that's what they were hoping to accomplish.
Okay.
Their schedule is a little different than ours. I told him that we're flexible, that these meetings aren't, set in stone. So he's supposed to be getting back with me. So I'm not sure, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, all right.
But if that's the will of the commission, I'm more than happy to make sure that we can figure something out.
Well, I think if it works out that we can do that, I think it'd be great.
Okay,
And, because, this is just a busy time of the year for everybody.
absolutely.
It may be that, it may be that since we normally meet pretty early, maybe we defer a week or something in order to make that work. I don't know. We'll just have to see what the dates are, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll touch base with Christian this week and try to get something, some kind of a timeline or dates that they're available, and then I'll send it out to y'all via email, and we can go from there.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Any other questions or, for Jason on that? All right, Parks and Rec Department update.
Yeah. Let me see. All right. So we have a few things for you. One of them is the duck pond. So Katie, who was here last time, was our grant administrator, or is our grant administrator. She spoke with y'all briefly, I think. But Texas Parks and Wildlife, we were trying to get a grant submitted for the project. We were able to meet that deadline. So the deadline was last Friday. I believe we submitted it last Wednesday afternoon. Lots of information. It was probably 40 pages worth. A lot of good stuff. Grant, it looks really good. It's a really strong grant. We actually kind of finalized our numbers, if you will. So we're looking at a $1.24 million project. So we're asking TPWD roughly $621,000. So that's exciting. We hope to know by May-ish. Of course, that depends on various things from the state. So hopefully by May, we'll be able to find out whether or not we received the grant. Quite honestly, they're just going to tell us we got it, so we're good. That's my hope anyway. That's my feeling. So nonetheless, that's submitted, so we'll figure that out next year. Nonetheless, the city did allocate $1.25 million for the project. So just in case we don't get the grant, we still have the funding available to move forward with the project. There really, honestly, probably won't even be too big of a delay if we don't get the grant, because we already have our design development completed and we already have our construction documents in hand. So it's just a matter of going out to bid, kind of going through all that red tape. But if we do get the grant, that actually would probably delay us a little bit more, because at that point in time, if we do get the grant, TPWD will have representatives come down and just do an environmental assessment, if you will. So they'll want to look at the site and they'll want to do their studies, et cetera. So that could potentially take probably another month or month and a half. So just want to give you all a heads up. Just because we get the grant doesn't mean that we can just move forward on the project that next week. It's going to take us some time to be able to go through the process with Texas Parks and Wildlife. So,
Question.
yes.
So do you have to wait to hear back about the grant before you go out for bids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
ma'am.
you're looking at construction sometime next summer, either way?
Yes, ma'am.
Because people are asking.
Yes,
So-
ma'am. Yeah, most definitely. So I would say next summer is definitely our deadline that we're trying to hit. Yeah.
The design plan that you currently have, that's the way that it is going to be at this,
That is correct. That was what was presented to council and what was approved by council.
Okay.
Speak of the devil. How are you doing? She just snuck right on in. We're actually right on the update if you'd like to jump in.
I've been here. I did just want to tell you though, regarding the process of it, we expect to hear something approximately May. But we won't be able to get started doing construction until we have that contract in place with TPWD. And that probably will take, as Jason said, they're gonna have to do a lot of, environmental assessment and all of that, and then we'll have to bid the project. And so it's gonna be a minimum of next summer. It could be slightly longer. There also may be some other requirements that we have based on the amount of federal funding that's involved, that TPWD is getting. So there may be some other restrictions, requirements there.
Thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
You are correct. That is a frequently asked question.
Well, and
for
one
sure.
of the things that we want to do, going forward with this project is making sure that, the public knows where we are with it. Because, it's been closed for such a long time that we don't want people to think we've forgotten about it. But, yeah, we'll probably, I'm sure we're going to do all kinds of stuff about that, so.
Awesome. Any questions? No? Thank you, Katie. So the other one that we have, another update, are the soccer fields. So last time, I believe we were waiting on some topsoil to be delivered. So since that time, topsoil has been delivered. The field had been regraded. Irrigation just got finished. So what they did was they installed the irrigation, waited for the topsoil to come in, regraded, and then came back in and set the irrigation heads over the top, so we didn't have any issues with big equipment running over those. And so our next step right now is to install the sprigs. And so we're going to be working on that. We're looking at, potentially Wednesday of this week to be able to get that started. So that's where we're at with the soccer field. The golf course irrigation pump was approved, and we'll have a new system in place by the end of the year. Just to kind of go back a little bit, the irrigation system that runs the entire golf course was about 30-plus years old and was deteriorating. And so there were some issues that were popping up that had staff pretty worried about it. And it was, we're able to make things happen, and we were able to get a new irrigation pump system. So that's going to be installed. I think their target date's December the 15th. So hopefully that'll last another 30-plus years, and we won't have to worry about it. So, of course, the Parks Master Plan, I just mentioned that to y'all. I won't go over that again. And then it comes down to our recreational side. I know we had the Halloween event on the 24th. That was really, really huge turnout. So big, I think staff was very surprised ourselves by the way that it turned out. But nonetheless, a very good event. I think it just speaks volumes that the community is ready to get back out and get back to some kind of normalcy. And so, that's one of the questions that we have as a Parks and Recreation Department is when we have our recreation programs and events, are people even going to show up, or are they going to bombard us? And I think we got that answer. So we know that the community is interested and engaged in those programs and events, and so I think that's helpful. You have any comments on the Halloween or anything else rec-related?
Just the Christmas parade and fireworks were both officially approved.
Touch on that one?
Okay, so we have a couple programs, Riverside Camp Out and Movie Night, that we're waiting for approval for the large outdoor event. So as soon as we get the approval for that, we'll be advertising that, but we are hoping to still get that event going for this fall, or still be able to do it. Other than that, the event we have gotten approved, that I'm sure y'all probably already seen some advertisement for, is our annual Christmas parade. Well, this year, instead of doing the traditional Christmas parade, we've actually changed it to where it will be a reverse parade in Riverside Park. And so what that is instead of having your parade viewers sit and the parade drive by them, we're flip-flopping that. So our parade floats will all be actual traditional floats. We're not going to allow anyone to just be like walkers or things on the ground. We are requiring them to be on a float. Unfortunately, we are having to have some restrictions, so we are having to limit the floats to 10 participants per float, just so that we're being a little bit more COVID friendly. But we will set up all the parade floats throughout Riverside Park in designated parking lots and allow people to drive by to see the floats. So usually the people are still and the parade's moving. So this time the parade will be still and the people will be moving through. And then we just got the clearance Friday, just got the approval, but we can officially announce now that we're also going to have fireworks at the end of the parade. So I know the whole community was really bummed that we weren't able to do the fireworks for 4th of July, but due to the way our contract was written, we are still able to reschedule the fireworks. So we were like just right there on that deadline of how far we could push that back, because obviously we're waiting on COVID to, leave the community first. But we will have a fireworks show at the end of the parade. So we're excited about that. And we do have one other event in the works for this year. It's going to be our Christmas on the Square event. And once we have more information about that and have it approved, we'll make sure to advertise that out to the public.
Yes.
I wanted to
Amy, I
commend
have a
staff
question.
on the Halloween event. So I kind of sort of got caught in the traffic right by the Rose Pavilion, made a U-turn and left. But I did watch some of it on and off on Facebook Live, and you guys, I thought, did a really good job. And I also did look at the live stream comments, and I know you had good, the bad, and the ugly in comments, so I commend you for just sticking with it and being professional. And I would say that it's been my experience that Facebook Live, and nowadays especially, people really do tune in to find out what's going on. And and you guys did a good job on updating, you were gonna close, you had this much candy left. So I say just, keep up the good job. And that's gonna be super important, I think, as well with the reverse Christmas parade, to let people know, because they do, this town is a Facebook town and it tunes in. And then just to throw out a comment, and I don't know if it's possible or how to even do it, but I know that when you do the drive-through at Cuero lights, there's a simulcast where you tune into your radio station, and they actually play music, which is a really cool feature, especially if you're trying to direct people or whatever. But at Cuero, the light parade, literally you drive in, you tune into a certain radio station, and it's playing music for you at the same time. It just makes it a little more festive, and it gives you the opportunity to communicate in another way. So,
Thank
you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, it will be at night. The Christmas parade will start at 6. It'll be actually 6 to 9, and then the fireworks, we're planning on shooting those off about 9:30. What you mentioned about the radio going along with it, the way we actually had a new fireworks vendor for this year, and that's one of the services they provide is, it's called Pyrotechnics. And it'll be an app that you can download on your phone to actually listen to choreographed music to the fireworks. But we are working with our PIO department to, we're actually gonna have the MCs driving through the parade. So they're gonna be able to have their stuff live so that people can listen to their commentary about the different floats and kind of announce some of the messages that the floats would like to say themselves to. So we are working on coordinating that right now to, liven it up a little bit more, and like you said, add some festivity to it.
And George is going to be Santa.
Sure appreciate your imagination.
George over there is going to be our superhero for that.
Appreciate your imagination and continued efforts to try to accommodate these things we have to accommodate these days, but y'all are doing a great job.
Thank you.
For the people that are going to be watching the fireworks, they're driving through, where would they park to watch the fireworks? So it's going to be any legal parking space throughout the park. And then we're also, usually it's no parking on the grass, and that's something that we're really big on. But for this, because of the amount of people that we're expecting to come out, we're actually going to be setting up some designated parking areas. So a lot of our open fields, we'll set up designated parking there, and we'll put signage throughout the park. And we're actually working on creating maps right now to put online so people can kind of see where those areas are. So, we're trying to come up with as much parking as we can, and we'll try to communicate that as much as we can once we have it officially established.
Good parking,
Awesome.
right?
That was gonna be what I said, is that unfortunately with my children, when we went to the drive-through, we didn't know which one was the exact entrance to get in. We ended up in the wrong one and didn't make it in, because I guess there was one that was going directly into it and two that were coming together to kind of turn left to go into it. And so I just wanted to, I didn't know, you're saying people are going to be able to park and stuff. I just wanted to make sure there's at least signs or a designated start area where people are like, no, yeah, or even I'll go out there and direct traffic. I'll say, hey, over there, I wouldn't mind. I will do it.
Right.
Just to let everybody know they need to be, there's some people waiting 2 hours, and then you might come in and try to take a left on them. So
Right.
that was just something I personally went through. So we didn't end up making it.
Right.
And so.
And that definitely broke our heart, and we, turning those kids away, that was not what we wanted for Halloween. But that was a huge learning lesson for us. And we did coordinate with PD on getting a traffic plan, and they've actually kind of helped us with some of the signage that we need. So we'll have signage at the entrance to the different parks. We'll have some on Main Street, Red River, places like that. And they did help us coordinate a traffic flow
So it'll still, I mean, there's still going to be a ton of people in Riverside Park, so it's still not just going to be free flow in traffic, but at least it should be much smoother than what it was for the Halloween.
Because it was at that T-bone where the tiki statues are. That's where it was happening, so people were coming from there. And then there's two ways to enter from that other side, and that's where they were T-boning there and then going and T-boning over there where the original entrance was. But that's great that, everything's a learning lesson. It was awesome for the first one.
Y'all intend to do it again next year?
We definitely intend on doing a Halloween event. Will it be a drive-through?
Right.
Well, it'll depend on COVID.
Right.
But we did make quite a few notes on our event recap about what we liked and would like to change in the future. And if we do have another event that's like this, this is ideally what we would like to do, and this is our COVID 2.0. So we do have notes on it either way.
I will say thank y'all for being patient and cooperative with us, the community as well. Again, it's something that we haven't ever dealt with before, COVID. And honestly, I think our recreation coordinator, I mean, this was one of her first events that she's had all year. And, she's been planning and then, it's denied and planning and denied. And so she was ecstatic just to be able to pull off an event. But just as Jamie said, I mean, nonetheless, it was still a learning experience for us. And so we're definitely gonna make our notes and put those down and make sure that we do even better next time. Anything else on the rec?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question regarding something Jamie said. When you were talking about your camp out and waiting to get it approved, is your approving body city council?
With that, with the governor's order, any event that's an outdoor event with more than 10 people requires mayor approval. So we do have a process set up that our actual city management came up with, where it's an application. So we went on the city website, we filled out that application, and at this point, we're just waiting for it to get approved.
Okay. So that's what you're waiting. Are there other restrictions that event planners should be looking at? And the form that you're talking about filling out, an event I have coming up, is that something that we need to look at filling out, or you know what I'm talking about, Jason?
Yeah, so sporting leagues and any kind of outdoor leagues, basically that large outdoor gathering application is null. I mean, you don't need to have it. There are certain requirements, I guess, on events when it's more recreational. And I don't mean like recreational sports. I mean recreational in a sense of, hey, we're going to have a camp out, we're going to have s'mores, those kinds of things. More social, I guess you could say. That's when you have to go for that outdoor gathering application. But the things that you're talking about, Gail, I mean, those are going to be more along the lines of our sporting events, if you will.
Okay, I was wondering if there's any restrictions that we need to be concerned with.
No, I believe everything that I believe you're talking about is going to be fine, but we can definitely touch offline if you'd like to discuss.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, any other questions?
The only thing that I have one last thing really
Sure.
quickly, and if you could help me give Jamie a huge round of applause. She has been our interim assistant director for the last handful of months since I've been here. We're moving forward with Kimberly Zigman from Asheville, South Carolina. She'll be starting on the 16th. So if you could please help give Jamie a round of applause for all the hard work and dedication that she has for the department. Good job. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So that's all I have.
Well, that's very well deserved, Jamie.
Thank you.
Okay, last item is future agenda items. The one thing I wanted to try to be sure that I mentioned was, and I think the way to do this is simply to ask if there's any objection to adding Honor 361 to a future agenda item to come present to us their project. It's,
No objection.
No objection from anyone about that? Well, let's just do it at such time as they're able to do it, and
Okay.
let you work that out with them whenever they want to.
Okay, I sure will.
Any other future agenda items that anybody has for the commission? Okay, hearing none, then entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Okay. All in favor?
I'll second.
Okay.
Oh, in favor, yay.
I didn't even think it needed a second. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Nice meeting you.